Hello, folks, and this is Luciano Santini, the Motivational Key, and today we're going to talk about leadership and anxiety in the workplace. And I think that one of the things that I always teach leadership is that as a leader, you need to be careful what you say, what you ask for, and how you ask for it, especially if they are tasks. And what I find is that a lot of leaders, they're giving tasks. They're given tasks from the top leaders, from upper management above them. And the problem that I have seen so many times, especially lately, is that the tasks that they are given to begin with, they don't know how to implement it. They don't even know how to create a plan to implement. So what they do is they give it to their lower management. And of course, the lower management doesn't know how to do it, has never even tried it, or has any idea of how to do it. And so they try the best that they can, but what ends up happening is that anxiety kicks in with lower management and the managers above them. So to get off, if you have a leader that's giving you a task, they give it to you. So if they're feeling anxious, they'll give it to you. So their anxiety is basically they wash their hands off the task, giving you the anxiety, which is kind of funny because it just kind of like passes it on like a virus. Somebody has it, they pass it on. So what ends up happening is that the person that has the task becomes very anxious, very frustrated, very scared. Fear sets in. And it's not a good thing because nothing gets done. And they're afraid. They don't say anything. They don't ask for help because they're afraid that if you ask for help, then you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing. You don't know your job. Or at the end that you don't want to do your job. And that can be very fearful for a lot of people. So I always tell leaders, I say, hey, before you give anybody a task, if you don't know how to do it yourself, you can't give it to another person because they're going to come back and ask you how to do it. And it's going to just make you look like you're incompetent. And I have to tell you that I have found so many leaders in positions that have worked very, very hard to get those positions. But I always tell them, just because you got this position or this position was given to you does not make you a leader. And some of them get upset when I tell them this, but I always say, you have to know the truth. If you don't know the truth, you will continue doing the same thing over and over and over. And as you know, that's the definition for insanity. Doing the things over and over, the same thing over and over, and not getting the results that you want. So I always tell them, you could be a leader, but you're not a leader right now. You haven't reached that pinnacle. You haven't reached that goal or that step that you need to take to become a leader. And I'm not saying that all leaders know everything, because trust me, they don't. But a good leader needs to admit when they don't know what they think they know. And sometimes they just don't ask for help themselves at all, and that just creates issues and more issues. So my thing and the technique that I teach a lot of them is, if you don't know what you're passing on, if you don't know the task that you're giving them, if you don't understand the task that you're given and you just give it to another person, the best thing for you to do is to take some time, read up on it, make a phone call to somebody that can help you, understand it, and have a plan ready to implement before you give to this other person. So this way, when you give the task to somebody else, then all you have to do is say, hey, here's this task, and here's how to implement it. Now, please just take it out, go with it, and implement it. If you need any help, feel free to call me back or call me with any questions. And a lot of the times, most leaders don't do that. And I have to tell you that when a leader does that to you, know that most likely that leader doesn't know what they're doing. And this is the best, the best answer that I get from most of those type of leaders. When they send me a task and I purposely send it back, asking them, okay, well, give me the plan, show me the plan, teach me how to implement this. The best response that I get, which is kind of funny, is, well, this is for building capacity, so you need to do the research, and this is the. Well, okay, building capacity is one thing. Then tell me that from the very beginning, that I have to do my own research, because at that point I know that you don't know what you're talking about. And also, as far as building capacity, that's not how you build capacity. A good leader builds capacity with their staff and builds other leaders by assisting and helping them and teaching them how to do things the right way, the correct way from the very beginning. And a lot of leaders don't do that because they don't know what they're doing. So it's kind of funny. And this, my friends, creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. Okay? So if you're a good leader, or if you are a leader, if you're sitting in a position of leadership, make sure that you know how to implement the plan when you ask somebody to do a task that you have been given to take on. A lot of the times, if you don't know how to do it, maybe, just maybe, be humble enough to ask other people in your own organization, or even below your position. And just perhaps some of those people are a lot smarter than you think. And perhaps they can come up with a solution that at the end of the day will make you look good, and will also make you a good leader in their eyes, because you were humble enough to ask for help. And by not doing what a lot of leaders do, bully people because of their position. And I know a lot of leaders, and I know that you out there have dealt with these type of people, that because they sit in a leadership position, they feel that they can run your life, manipulate your life, and that is just so sad. And when I work with leadership like that, I literally tell them, if you continue doing this type of stuff, if you continue leading this way, you think you're leading, but you really are not. What is going to end up happening is that sooner or later, your own staff, your own organization will get rid of you. So if you sit in a leadership position, be a leader. Don't be a bully. Understand people. Understand the fact that if you don't know something and you try to give it to somebody else, all that's going to create is friction between you and that person, and a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. You don't want to be creating those type of environments for your staff. So my friends, if you're a leader, make that change that attitude, and understand people, be empathetic. And if you don't know something, admit it. And guess what? Don't admit it to somebody else. Admit it to yourself first. Because until you admit something to yourself that you don't know how to do, then you're not doing yourself any good, and you're lying to yourself. Okay, so my best advice to those type of leaders is be humble enough to ask for help. And with that, my friends, share this video. Share it with your friends. Give them hope. And let them know that sometimes when you have to do something, and you believe in something, and you know something is wrong, 99% of the time, sometimes, and most of the time, you have to go at it and stand on your own and by yourself. And with that, my friends, I wish you the best.